I am 70 years old. I have walked into rooms that most people could never survive seeing. I have knelt beside bodies, in cold alleyways, in quiet suburban homes, in places where life ended without warning and without mercy. I spent 41 years as a forensic detective. I solved 300 murders, 300 families got answers, 300 cases closed, 300 times. I sat across from a killer and watched them realize it was over. People called me the best in the department. Maybe they were right, but here is what nobody tells you about solving 300 murders. One of them will follow you home. One of them will sit at your dinner table. One of them will be there when you close your eyes at 2 in the morning and the house is completely silent. I thought I had seen everything. I thought after 4 decades, nothing could reach me anymore. I was wrong. There is one case, one name I have never spoken in an interview, one file I kept in my desk drawer long after I retired, not because I needed it, but because I was afraid to let it go. I am 70 years old now. My hands shake a little when I pour my coffee. My knees don't work the way they used to. But that case is still sharp, still alive, still sitting right here, behind my eyes, every single night. I need to tell you about it, not because I want to, because I have carried this alone for too long, and because somewhere out there, you might be carrying something too, something unfinished, something that keeps you awake, something you have never said out loud. This is my confession, and I think before I run out of time, you deserve to hear it. I joined the force when I was 29 years old, young, confident, full of something that felt like purpose. My father was a police officer, his father before him. So when I put on that badge for the first time, it didn't feel like a choice. It felt like something I was born into, something already written. The early years were hard in ways I expected. Long shifts, difficult scenes, the weight of other people's worst days sitting on your shoulders every time you drove home. But I was good at it. Not just good, I was precise, methodical. I could walk into a crime scene and feel it. Not in a spiritual way, in a deeply human way. I understood how people moved, how they panicked, how they tried to cover what they had done. I could read a room the way other people read a book. By my late 30s, I had a reputation. Detectives from other cities would call me. Prosecutors trusted my testimony. I worked cases that had been cold for years, and I brought them back to life. I thought I had time to feel things later. I thought the emotions were something I could schedule, something I could deal with after retirement, after the work was done. I was wrong. What I didn't see, what I refused to see, was what the job was doing to me underneath. My first wife left when I was 44. She didn't leave because I was absent, though I was. She left because when I was present, I wasn't really there. My eyes were always somewhere else. My mind was always inside a case. She told me once, and I remember this exactly, she said, "You look at me the way you look at evidence, like you're trying to figure out what I'm hiding." I didn't know what to say to that, because she wasn't wrong. I had 2 children who grew up watching their father solve other people's problems while quietly ignoring his own. My son stopped calling when he was in his 30s. Not dramatically, no big argument. He just slowly stopped. I told myself I was too busy to notice. I thought I had time to fix it. Later never came. And through all of this, through the quiet collapse of everything personal in my life, I kept working. I kept solving. I kept closing cases, because inside that work, I knew exactly who I was. Outside of it, I wasn't sure anymore. It was a Tuesday morning in November. I remember that detail because I've replayed it so many times that every part of it is carved into me permanently. I was 58 years old, 11 years from retirement, still sharp, still the person they called when something didn't make sense. The call came at 4:47 in the morning. A young woman, 23 years old, found in her apartment by her neighbor. No signs of forced entry, no obvious struggle, just gone, quietly, in a place she was supposed to be safe. Her name was Maya. I won't say her last name. Even now, I protect that. I arrived at the scene before sunrise. The apartment was small, neat, the kind of neat that tells you someone cared about their space, about their life. There were photographs on the refrigerator. Friends, a dog she clearly loved, a sticky note on the mirror in the bathroom that said, "Keep going." I stood in that bathroom for a long time. Keep going. She had written that to herself. Some morning, some ordinary morning, she had looked at her own reflection and needed that reminder. And then someone took everything from her. I worked that case for 14 months. 14 months of interviews, of evidence, of dead ends that opened into other dead ends. I lost sleep. I skipped meals. I drove 3 hours to interview a witness who knew nothing. I called the victim's mother every few weeks just to tell her we hadn't stopped. I had never wanted to solve something more in my entire career. And then we got close. We had a suspect, strong forensic links, a timeline that held together. My partner and I were certain we had done everything right. But the evidence, one critical piece, had been mishandled early in the investigation. Before I arrived, a procedural failure that wasn't mine but lived inside my case anyway. The prosecutor looked at me across a table and said the words I had never heard in 29 years of doing this work. "We can't move forward." I sat in my car for 2 hours after that meeting. I didn't cry. I had forgotten how to do that somewhere in my 30s. I just sat there, and for the first time in my entire career, I felt completely useless. That was the moment something shifted. Not dramatically, not loudly, but something that had been holding me together for decades quietly broke. I drove home. I opened my door. I sat in the dark in my kitchen, and I thought about Maya's sticky note. Keep going. She had told herself to keep going, and someone had made sure she couldn't. And I, the person who was supposed to deliver justice, had failed her. That night, I picked up the phone to call my son. I held it for a long time. Then I put it down. I thought I had time for that too. I want to stop here for a moment, because this is the part that matters most. Not just for me, for you. I spent 41 years believing something that felt completely true, something that felt responsible and disciplined, and even noble. I believed that life could be divided, that I could put the important things, the personal things, the emotional things, the people I loved into a drawer, and I could come back to them later, when the work slowed down, when the timing was right, when I had more to give. I called it focus. I called it dedication. I called it being good at what I do. But I want to tell you what it actually was. It was avoidance dressed up as ambition. I was not too busy for my son. I was afraid of what it would feel like to sit across from him and have nothing to hide behind. No case file, no badge, just a father who didn't know his own child anymore. I was not too consumed by work to call my first wife after she left. I simply did not know how to exist in a relationship where I couldn't solve the problem. I thought I had time to become a different person. I was wrong. Here is what 41 years and 300 cases taught me, and I need you to hear this slowly. The things you keep postponing are not waiting for you. They are not patient. They are not sitting in a drawer getting organized. They are quietly dying. Every single day that you say later, they get smaller. The window gets narrower. The person you meant to call gets older, gets tired, gets used to your absence. Later never came for me. Not with my son, not with my first wife, not with Maya's family who deserved justice and received only an apology. I was so focused on solving other people's stories that I forgot I was living one of my own. And here is the truth that broke me open completely. The cases I solved did not need me to sacrifice everything. I told myself they did. I built an identity around that belief. I made it my reason for every missed birthday, every unanswered phone call, every night I chose the office over the dinner table. But the truth is, I chose the work because the work never asked me to be vulnerable. Evidence doesn't need you to apologize. A crime scene doesn't ask you how you're feeling. A closed case never looks at you with disappointment. People do, and I was afraid of that. So I kept working, I kept solving. I kept closing other people's chapters while mine stayed open and unfinished and full of things I never said. Don't do what I did. Don't confuse being busy with being alive. Don't confuse being good at your job with being present in your life. The promotion can wait. The extra shift can wait. The person sitting across from you at dinner, quietly hoping you will look up from your phone. They cannot wait forever. I thought they could. I was wrong. And I learned that lesson far too late. sitting alone in a kitchen in the dark, holding a phone I was too afraid to use. I am 70 years old. I wake up every morning in a house that is very quiet, not peaceful quiet, the other kind. The kind that reminds you of every conversation that never happened, every door that closed and never opened again. My son and I talk now, slowly, carefully, like two people rebuilding a bridge that has been broken for a very long time. Some days it feels like progress. Some days it feels like too little, far too late. But we are trying. That is the one thing I did not wait too long for. I am grateful for that, more than I can say. But Maya the first could not fix. Her case is still open, technically, a file in a system somewhere, with no resolution at the end of it. I have her photograph on my desk, not the crime scene photograph, a photograph her mother sent me. Maya at a beach somewhere, laughing, completely alive, completely unaware of what was coming. I look at it every morning, not as punishment, as a reminder that time is not something you can negotiate with. It does not care about your plans. It does not wait for you to feel ready. It does not give you a second version of moments you chose to skip the first time. So I need to say something to you directly now. You, the person watching this at whatever hour it is, whatever you are carrying right now, whatever you have been postponing. Listen to me carefully. If there is someone in your life you have been meaning to call them today. Not tomorrow, not after this video, today. If there is something you have been afraid to say it. If there is a relationship you have been quietly neglecting because you told yourself there was still time, there is less time than you think. I thought I had time. I was wrong. I thought the important things would always be there when I was finally ready for them. They weren't. I spent 41 years solving other people's mysteries, and I almost completely missed the most important investigation of my life. Who was I when nobody was watching? What did I actually value? Who did I love? And did they know it? Those are the only questions that matter at the end. Not how many cases you closed, not how many times your name was mentioned in a meeting, not how productive you were, not how disciplined, not how impressive your record looked on paper. At the end, you will think about the people, only the people. You will think about the morning you were too distracted to really listen, the birthday you half attended, the phone call you said you would return and never did. Those are the things that stay with you, not the achievements, the absences. I am 70 years old, and I am telling you this because I have very little left to lose by being honest. Don't build a perfect career inside a broken life. Don't be so busy being good at what you do that you forget to be present for the people who need you. Don't wait for the right moment to love the people in front of you. Later never came for me. Don't let it be the same for you. I thought I had time. I was wrong. And if Maya's photograph teaches me anything every single morning, it is this. None of us knows how many mornings we have left. So use this one.